Hello, Maverick fans. Welcome to another edition of the Mavpuckcast. How is everyone doing out there?
It's great to be alive.
Isn't it?
Yeah, college hockey season's underway, and the Mavs are undefeated.
I can't believe we're saying that.
That's right.
Let's
2-0.
Close the season right here. We're done. And we're good to go.
After last season, let's bask in the glow of this
Right.
moment and the success. Yeah.
I think we're 25% of the way to last year's wins.
That's right. I know. And you look at the schedule, and I'm just saying, we'll talk about this as the show progresses, but they could match that total,
Yeah, I mean,
by December. I mean,
Duluth split, St. Cloud didn't win.
Yeah.
We got Denver's undefeated with 4 games. But I mean, yeah, we're second best.
I just want to remind you on that St. Cloud thing, I picked them 6th in the conference behind UNO, who I picked 5th. So, and I know you were mentioning that Duluth had its struggles this last weekend, but you remember...
Yeah. I wonder if anyone picked them first. Yeah.
Well, I did pick them to win the national, but you remember, you've won 2 national championships. It's hard to get motivated to do anything in October.
It's hard to get motivated to do anything, which is why I didn't pick them.
It's hard for me to get motivated to do anything in October.
And I haven't won anything.
I completely understand. They'll turn it on in January. Don't worry. My pick, you'll be.
Yeah, they'll run the tables in like the last half of the year.
You'll be looking at me in awe when, April rolls around. So
before we talk too much about what happens on the ice, let's talk a little about something that happened off the ice.
Okay.
You, not me, got to go to dinner with the Mavs again.
It was terrific. Yeah, this was would that have been Thursday, October 3rd?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was a lot of fun at Anthony's Steakhouse. A terrific event, terrific venue, great food, great company. You get an opportunity to sit with the players. A couple of the players sit at each table. You get to hear from Coach Gabinette. It's a lot of fun. Kind of a nice little preview to the season. And we got to sit by 2 great players, goalie Austin Roden and Alex Waugh. I thought maybe it was pronounced Roy because that name is pronounced differently depending on where you come from.
I'm going to say it depends on where you come from.
But his when he got up and introduced himself, it sounds like it's pronounced like Patrick Waugh, the famous goaltender from the Colorado Avalanche. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. He was with
Montreal first, but
yeah. Well, yeah,
hence the Waugh thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and Alex Waugh is from Quebec as well.
Quebec.
So yeah, I was very excited to get to meet those guys. They were 2 of the rookies that you and I had talked about on the podcast.
Right.
That we had followed. I did write-ups on recruits this last season. I've got to get back to doing that because it helps me learn about them. And Roden was one of the guys I did, so I was pretty familiar with him. So we had a great time talking with both of them. I know your wife, Jolene, enjoyed it. My wife, Bridget, enjoyed it. We had a great time, and I think those events are a lot of fun. And we got a chance we talked to Coach Gabinette, for about 20 minutes afterwards. So you could just tell a weight had been lifted. It looked like... You could just tell he felt a lot better about this season than last season. I think you could just tell that there was a lot on his mind. This time he felt really good about the team's prospects this season, even though they're a very young team.
Yeah, it's exciting having a young team just because there's very little expectation, but a lot of interest.
It is, and it's a clean slate. That's what's nice about it. There's no preconceived notion going in about what this team can do, so they can write their own story this season.
Right. And as we saw in the games, I think even some of the upperclassmen, have new energy, new life. You're playing with these kids coming in, trying to prove themselves and show themselves, and that just sometimes translates into upperclassmen that
for sure
exceed maybe what you've been used to the last few years or something. So.
Well, it's great to see those upperclassmen who know that their time at the college level is, coming to a close, kind of step it up at the end and say, you know what, we're going to try to do something really special here to kind of go out on a high note. It's always fun to see college classes do that. And over the years, we've had some really good senior classes at UNO that have done that. So it's great to see. And so far, things are looking good. But we missed you at the dinner with the Mavs.
Yeah, I was out scouting.
But we got a. That sounded like you had a really good trip out to Colorado to see the Avalanche, and then it's the
Eagles,
the Colorado Eagles, or the
AHL
their
AHL team. Yeah.
And so we got a picture, a selfie in the food line with your favorite player, Tyler Weiss. And
Yeah, I saw that.
yeah,
That's the part that I always enjoy, kind of bumping elbows with the team and stuff at those events. So it was kind of sad not to be there, but it didn't last long because we walloped Calgary, and I was plenty happy.
I know you're the total NHL pro guy. You know I'm a total college guy. So the pro interests me a little bit, like when it gets to the Stanley Cup, but I'm not a big pro guy. I'm all about the college game and the amateur game.
Then again, I'm also the guy that, like today, when my daughter was at, she's getting ready for her practice. One of the, I don't even know what level, one of the boys' teams was out practicing on the rink while they were getting ready.
Okay.
And so I'm standing there watching this, I don't know, squirt peewee, something like that. And this guy comes up to me and goes, "How you doing?" I'm like, "Good. How are you?" "Yeah. Which one's your kid?" "None of them." And I get that really weird look from like, why is this guy watching?
What the hell are you doing here? Yeah.
But in all honesty, I love to watch hockey. So
you know what, dude? I'm with you on that. Any hockey, anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare that you don't find hockey on something in my household. So
I'll tell you, we have a lot of fun watching it. Any game, any level, I have a good time watching. So, but college is my focus. So.
It's our go-to.
Yep, it's my go-to.
So last year when we went to dinner with the Mavs, we learned some surprising information about coach's true feelings regarding Kale.
Right.
Were there any revelations from my missed dinner with the Mavs?
No, there weren't any food-related revelations.
Shockers, huh?
No. Well, there were some interesting tidbits. For example, we did learn that the underclassmen have been in Omaha. Not the underclassmen, but the freshmen who came in this year have been in Omaha since July.
Yeah.
And a number of them, it might have been all but one, don't quote me on that, took a summer class together before the fall semester. So kind of a nice little time to build some camaraderie, get to know the other guys, get familiar with Omaha, familiar with the campus. UNO has a beautiful campus, and it's all kind of centrally located, kind of compact there together. So it's great. So the players have talked about how much they like the campus and how close everything seems to be to campus. So it sounded like a great thing, and that was kind of a neat thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that compares with past classes. I know that there are guys who come in obviously before the fall semester begins as freshmen, but I thought that was kind of a neat deal.
I mean, even at the upper levels and stuff, a lot of times they'll take, I don't say a heavy course load, but they'll take significant number of classes in the summer just so they don't have to take so many fall and spring.
Some of those guys I know have gone like taking junior college courses while they're playing in the USHL, the North American Hockey League, that kind of stuff. So some of them had credits coming in. So
yeah. Because I know players in other sports and stuff that are more kind of confined to a season where it's a fall sport, like football and stuff, that they basically take like one or two classes or something, like minimal course load. Yeah,
whatever the minimum season, course load is that they need to take, and then like after the season, then they'll take more.
Then they'll take full load.
It's tough with college hockey,
because it's fall and spring.
It starts in October and it goes like through March, depending on how long you play it. And when the Frozen Four is, it could go through April. So you're basically, it's 5-6 months. That's almost the entire school year.
Very much, yeah.
I think that would be awfully difficult. So I commend these guys who do well in the classroom.
Yeah, I think finding that balance is always something that, particularly freshmen coming in, especially some of these guys that have played junior hockey, and a lot of times you'll see some of those guys. I don't know how many do it. I know a lot that do, so I don't know if I just know the ones that do and not the ones that don't, type of thing. But the ones that I do know, quite a few of them will take like online high school stuff. And that just gives them, I know some of the Lancers do, the University of Nebraska high school, where you don't have that formal classroom setting, right? So now I've
seen players in this, with the UNO and with like the Lincoln Stars, or not UNO, the Omaha Lancers
and the Stars. Yeah, and Tri-City and stuff. And it just, you go through a couple years of kind of being on your own pace and your own time, and then you come in here and you've got professors and course load and that stuff. So
Yeah,
I think it's great for them to kind of
definitely
adjust
different.
to that.
After kind of being on your own when you're playing the couple years in juniors, suddenly you've got more of that structure in place, and academics take more importance. So it's definitely an interesting thing. So it's very unique to college hockey because of the other college sports like football and basketball. Those guys come in right after high school. So So yeah, so that was one of the fun little tidbits. But yeah, we had a great time there, and it's always great to see the players. So I love those events, and I know they're doing 2 more this season, so I'm excited to attend those.
So to get into what happened on the ice,
we'll
start with, we actually have 3 games to talk about.
We did 3 games in
I know
5-6 days. Yeah, hey, I was totally fine with it.
Prep your car radio now. Let's start with the exhibition game. Fabulous Monday night effort.
Monday night exhibition hockey.
It was so weird.
It is.
I did hear that there was. I know a lot of people were speculating like, oh, it's because of this. I don't know exactly why we put it on Monday night. Apparently, the official was because of the breast cancer event that was
the Susan G. Komen walk. Yeah, I'd heard that too. Although there have been times over the course of the last 22 years when they played that exhibition on a Monday night or Sunday night. So yeah, they've had kind of odd days for that.
I mean, last year was a Sunday, and we were like, "This is weird."
There was,
a Sunday afternoon. Because I remember because I came back, got to the airport, and went straight to the.
Well, and I think I've mentioned on this show the early season tournament that they did back. It started in 2001, and they did it for a number of years, and they don't do it anymore. The Maverick Stampede, where you'd bring in 3 other college teams to compete. If I recall correctly, I believe there was one season where they ended up having Manitoba as one of the participants in that, and so that when we played that game, it was our exhibition, and then somebody else played it. Yeah, I believe so. Don't quote me on that, but I've got a lot of trivia floating through my head. I believe that happened one year with the Stampede. It was not a particularly exciting Stampede.
They must have ended up with one unofficial, one official game then, right?
Yeah.
So it was a tournament that had one official game.
Yeah. It was interesting, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
I would look it up, but I have no idea what season that was when that happened.
I'm sure someone out there listening will.
I'm sure they'll correct us. We probably should add a fact check segment after the following episode, so we can go back and correct all the stuff that people like to correct us on online. So we do the
random facts that we think about while we're recording this and didn't think about before recording this to look up.
We do. I mean, Jason will send me a recording of this, the night before we post it, and I'll text him and I'll be like, "Why'd we say this? Why'd we say that? Can you delete this out? Can you edit this out?"
Oh, great! Now everyone's going to want to hear the cutting room floor stuff.
Yeah, maybe we can have that. That can be like a bonus if we ever do Patreon someday.
Hey, there you go.
They can listen to the uncut version, the raw version of the Mavpuckcast.
So tweet us how much you're willing to spend for the uncut version.
That's right. And we're willing to come up with stuff to cut out just to have something interesting for you to listen to.
So thoughts from the exhibition game, what you saw. I wouldn't go as far as I wouldn't pull out a whole lot. Exhibition games are usually a hodgepodge of.
No, it's just an opportunity for the guys to get some ice time against some, decent competition and for the coaches to look at a few things.
Try a few things, throw a couple guys together that maybe you wouldn't normally put on a line.
Exactly.
You usually run a really long bench because you're not, limited to the normal NCAA requirements.
Give a couple of the goaltenders a look. So we got to see Isaiah Seville and
I know
Roden that game.
Cara College used to be their thing. It was every goaltender. I mean, top to bottom, you got one period, and it was just a matter of which period you got.
Yep.
We didn't do that. We had Seville played a little bit more than half the game, and then Roden finished it out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think you can't really take a whole lot from an exhibition game and say that means we're going to have a good season or means we're going to have a bad season or mean this player is going to be good, that player is not going to be good or any of that stuff.
I will tell you just my general impression. I thought it was kind of an entertaining game to watch because exhibition games can be just excruciatingly dull. But that was fun because we got to see a little bit of everything. We got to see the 5-on-5 overtime period, the 3-on-3 overtime period, and we got to see a shootout. And that was great because it gave them an opportunity to practice that early on this season. So Like we were talking about, we'll watch any type of hockey at any level, anytime. And I had a great time. And I thought there was a nice energy to the team. It felt different watching them.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's tough to tell anything from an exhibition.
Right. So move on. Talk about the real games then.
Yeah, let's talk about the real games. The start of the regular season, the start of the 2019 season for the UNO Mavericks.
This actually matters.
That's right.
Alabama-Huntsville.
Alabama-Huntsville. We've played them a number of times over the years.
Yeah. I know brought a couple people, friends and stuff to the game, and they're all like, well, are they good? They always want to know, like, what do you know about the team? I'm like, all right, here's the deal. They're decent. They're not great.
Right.
But they're also known as that team that just perennially goes in and messes up your season.
They're one of those teams that every so often they'll play one of those top programs and they'll catch them off guard and they'll do well. But I have friends like you do who aren't as familiar with college hockey as you and I are. And so they're like, is Huntsville good? Are they? And it's like, well, number one, it's early in the season, so it's hard to tell how things are going to shake up. I mean, going into last season, we didn't think Arizona State was going to be as good as they turned out to be. And then that was an NCAA tournament team.
Right.
So, but it's always a team that we matched up really well with and we've had success with over the years. And fun fact, I have a niece who goes to Alabama-Huntsville. She's there on a full scholarship, and she's a math major. So
that's a good place to go.
Yeah, and
their connection. Yeah. I know one of the guys was like, "Well, why would anyone want to go down there, especially for hockey?" I'm like, quite honestly, most of them are hockey players. They're looking for a place to play. They want to make an impact right away.
Right.
And if you have any sort of interest in
playing
math
D1
and
hockey,
science, I mean, oh my gosh, you can go play hockey and be
absolutely
across the street from NASA.
It's a great institution for that. Yeah, absolutely right. So I'm kind of hoping, and a lot of times when we have a non-conference foe come in, then the next year we'll go and play them at their barn. So if we get a chance to go down to Huntsville and see our niece, that's Bridget's sister Ann, her daughter Emily is down there. That'd be really kind of cool to go down there and visit because I've never been to Alabama. So yeah, I'd totally love that. So
I could do that. That'd be a fun trip.
Yeah, but anyway, it was a good matchup for UNO to start the season with. And the thing is, successful teams find a way to take advantage of the good opportunities that are presented them. And you look at Alabama-Huntsville come in, and you're saying UNO struggled a lot last season. They had a tough schedule last season. This is a good matchup to kind of, let the coaches kind of gauge what's going on with the team. It was a good kind of tune-up for the season to start things out. It wasn't, an intimidating opponent coming in. They were like, oh my gosh, we got Notre Dame coming in, or we got Wisconsin, your national championship next spring coming in.
Right.
No, it was a good type of matchup for them to have.
Build up to that.
Yeah. We had no idea what either team was going to look like, but it looked like the type of team that they could match up well against.
Yeah, I think they're similar to UNO in that they're kind of in a transition period. They've played a certain style for a number of years. They're kind of starting to move into one that's a little bit more creative, a little bit more built off of speed, and we saw a little bit of that in the second game, I thought, more than the first game with Huntsville.
Right. And they played UMass Lowell the weekend before, so they had played good NCAA competition out of hockey.
So they had some of the rust built off, which we didn't.
We did not.
And to still come out, and you talked about capitalizing on opportunities.
Yeah,
I think a big part of the first game was the power play. Particularly we got that 5-minute major, and we were able to put 4 goals in on one power play essentially, and that's. I mean, you always hope that you get 5 minutes of unended power play time. You really need one. You kind of want 2, and you feel pretty good about yourself if you can put in 2. So to put in 4 is pretty impressive.
And I'll tell you, I just thought they played with a certain energy that I didn't see very often last season. Quite honestly, the guys looked like they were excited to play. They were excited to prove themselves. And you just saw some great performances out of these freshmen. I think that was the most exciting. And it seemed like, you look at this last weekend, you look at a guy like Tristan Keck, who's a veteran who's been with us for a long time. He looked like he was reborn. You look at a guy like Zach Jordan, who I thought was very impressive his sophomore season. He struggled a bit last season. He looked solid this weekend. I mean, it was good to see those guys, Ryan Jones, Dean Stewart. Great to see those guys have a great weekend, and they were kind of feeding off the energy that the freshmen were bringing in. So I thought overall they looked good this weekend, and it was both outings I thought were solid outings. And Coach Gabinet said in his post-game presser on Saturday that he actually thought the team played a better game on Saturday than they did on Friday.
Yeah. I don't know what that motivation was. I thought that last year the homecoming game I thought was a little bit flat. And so to see them come out and really kind of build off the energy, I think the student section did a great job supporting the team and providing some energy over there. And so I think that Friday night, at least part of it was them building off of that. And, hopefully we continue to see the students come out and support their team. And
oh, yeah, the students are great. Bill Pickett's done a great job getting the students organized into the game. I got to tell you, too, Bridget and I got to enjoy a kind of a special treat before that Friday game against Alabama-Huntsville.
Yeah, I kind of noticed. It's hard not to.
I know. Yeah. So we go to the game completely oblivious of what's going to happen. We go up to our seats, and one of the UNO marketing staff with the headset on comes up and says, "I'm looking for John and Bridget Brooks." I'm like, "Well, I'm John." She's like, "You guys want to come and sit down on the bench for pregame warmups?" I'm like, "Okay, all right."
Yes, please.
I'm not sure why we're doing this at this point. I'm thinking, are we part of like some sort of an on-ice promotion or contest type of thing? Because a lot of times you'll see them come up to your section and say, "Hey, do you want to participate in a promotion?" And I'm like, "Well, what kind of pregame promotion are we doing now?" So she leads us down to the bowels of Baxter Arena. Bridget and I are going down there. We're headed to the bench. Coach Gabinet is there talking to a recruit. I, shake his hand and I tell him, not the recruit, I shake Gabinet's hand and tell him good luck tonight. And so we're standing there and it's fun. I got to tell you, some of these freshmen are really, really big at ice level. They're a lot big.
6'7"? Yeah, I would say
absolutely. So we're standing down there, we're enjoying it. And then Coach Kemp shows up and brings both of us some merch, and they've got us on camera, and we were honored as season ticket holders of the game for the night. So that was kind of a cool honor, and it's cool that they're doing that. They've done variations on this in the past, and we had never gotten to be honored down on there on the ice before the game. So it was really special, and I just want to thank UNO for doing that. That was a lot of fun for us. It means a lot to us. I'm going to write a blog post about it this week because that meant a lot to me. So that's a fun, kind of inexpensive way that they can honor the season ticket holders, because especially when you have a tough season like last season, a lot of the more cynical people aren't inclined to renew their tickets. So this is kind of a neat thing that they can do for people, and who knows, maybe you and Jolene will be honored someday. So that's
hold your breath.
That's Jason and Jolene Combs, Section 2, Row K. But that was a great honor. So that was a lot of fun. And it was I think the thing that was most fun was like you guys were down there looking at us through the glass like, what the heck are you guys down there?
Because we show up and we send the girls down to put up their signs because they made new signs.
Yeah.
So they wanted to make sure that the new freshmen saw their new signs. They like to
high five the players as they're kind of coming off the ice after the pregame skate around. And Kevin Neubauer was there, and they're just looking at us like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, everyone keeps going to me. Is that John on the bench? I'm like, yeah. Oh, how do you get down there? The tunnel?
I don't
know. I really had no idea. Like, I had no clue. I'm like,
and I will tell you,
how do I get that?
While we were on the bench, the guy was on the ice filming us. I didn't know he'd started filming, and apparently I couldn't hear the PA very well down there.
Oh.
So he was like talking about us, and like Bridget was looking at the camera, like waving, and I'm talking to Mike Kemp. Because I didn't know this was happening, and I didn't want to be rude and turn away from Mike Kemp. So I'm just sitting there visiting. I'm saying how much this class reminds me of UNO's, the 04-05 class he had. He'd had an 8-win season in 03-04. And then the 04-05 class came in, a lot of young, enthusiastic guys, kind of like this class. And they performed really well that season. And they got to the CCHA Super 6 at Joe Louis Arena. So it was definitely a big turnaround. So I'm talking with them about that. And then they're like, well, you're done, So we headed off, and Bridget's like, "Why didn't you turn and look at the camera?" I'm like, "Well, next time, like, hit me in the arm so I turn around and I'll wave."
That's what you really want on the big screen is her smacking you across the face,
So
right?
I think we've learned from that Facebook Live at the season ticket pickup, and we've learned from my experience down on the bench that you and I don't do well when we're just like impromptu asked to do stuff that we're not expecting to do. But anyways, great. So anyway, back to the Huntsville game. Let's pull this back to the topic at hand, and
Okay.
not
Yeah, let's do
promotions.
that.
But I will tell you, I was impressed with a lot of players. And who was your standout performance of the weekend?
You know, there's a lot of players that I could talk about.
Absolutely.
Quite honestly, I'm gonna say our power play and first,
Okay.
second. I don't know if third unit, sure, why not? Fourth unit, maybe. We have 5 minutes there, but even on Saturday we got power play goals, and I
Yeah.
think even on the power plays that didn't produce, most of them produced at least quality scoring opportunities. And it's college hockey. You're not going to have 100%.
No.
So I'm never looking for that level, but I thought that the power play really clicked.
Yeah.
They seemed to have a really good feel. They moved the puck across the seam, which is something I thought anyone who sits up by has probably heard me yelling it last season a ton, is that with the exception of Olsen to Morelli, we don't split seam passes in the offensive zone on the power play, and it frustrated the heck out of me because it's the best way to kind of open up the defense.
Right.
And we just don't. We like everything's just like umbrella, maybe take a shot and then it gets blocked. I thought that defense did a great job of getting the puck through. And that's something we talked about in a podcast last year, was like, just seems like so many of our shots are getting blocked. And I thought with Huntsville, we really found a way to get the pucks through.
I thought so too.
Get them into the scoring area or get them on net so that you can get rebounds and stuff. And, that really, I think, made a difference. So players of the game go to everyone who played on the power play this weekend.
Very nice pick.
So,
and it's kind of exciting. It's kind of exciting just looking at the team in general, thinking that they might have more than one productive line this season,
and more than one productive power play.
Absolutely.
Because last year it really sounded like, okay, well, once we took that top line off, it was like, all right, well, whatever.
When can we get him back out there again? Was kind of what we did. I'm going to go with Zach Jordan. I'm going to go with the veteran. He was a guy that impressed me his sophomore season. He struggled along with the rest. A lot of guys struggled last season. And he had a really nice weekend.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that for him.
He played with a little bit more physicality, which I love to see.
Yeah, he had 2 goals and assists on Saturday, 1 goal on Friday.
His second goal on Saturday was my favorite.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful
wasn't the
goal.
prettiest, but man, that shoulder down drive to the net. And
oh, yeah. 4-point weekend for him. It was fantastic.
Survived the review. Yeah.
Yeah. And there were a lot of the young guys are impressing me right now. Joey Abate, I think he's going to become a great forward. Ryan Burchett in there all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's logging a lot of playing. And another veteran I'd point out is Tristan Keck.
Yeah.
I referred to him as the Energizer Bunny. I mean, it's just like he just keeps going and going and going and going. He's a fast player, and I'll tell you what, I think they're going to do some fun and creative things with him this season.
I like to see him. I like that he got on the board on Friday night. He's kind of one of those players that I think he seems. I feel bad for the kid sometimes because it seems like he had games last season where he did everything right.
Yes.
And didn't get anything.
I remember the series up at St. Cloud last year. I mean, he had a breakaway opportunity.
He had a lot of breakaway opportunities that he just couldn't bury. It's so like that's the thing is like it's not that it's not a talent thing. It's just like the kid just had bad luck almost.
He did.
Oh man, so I just feel bad for him.
I'm hoping, my fingers crossed, that he breaks through this season because he's a player that I've liked since he started playing at UNO, and I'm hoping.
I hope things start to bounce his way this season. And I think it could make a big difference because it could really spread out the scoring for the Mavs.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
That changes the way that other teams have to match up against us.
Yep.
I know the first night he was on a line with Weiss, and there seemed to be some chemistry between them, and that's something we've talked about with Weiss is that Weiss really isn't from a game standpoint. He's not the goal scorer. He's not the
Yeah.
guy that you're going to see come down and rifle run over a goalie shoulder. I mean, he'll do it every once in a while, but like
Right.
his game really is his awareness and knowledge of kind of what's going on and seeing that pass. And you really need someone that's going to fill a lane, find an open spot, get some
Yeah.
space that gives him some options. And so
Sure.
I thought Friday night that seemed to click pretty well. So hopefully there's more of that coming this season.
I think there's more of that coming down the road. I'm excited. I mean, and then we got to talk about some of the freshmen too. Abate gets his first career goal.
I mean, the freshman, like you said,
Boyer gets
did
his
really well,
first career goal.
Abate's my, like, if you want a top freshman from this weekend, that I thought he both nights played a really good game.
Yep.
He just seemed to be smart, aware, patient.
Yeah.
Sometimes, especially with freshmen, it just feels like everything's closing in on you faster than it really is. And he seemed to, I thought, really have a good awareness and feel for the game, even at that advanced level from where he was. And so I was really pleased with his play.
And they had both goaltenders play this weekend. So Friday night, Isaiah Seville was in net. And then Saturday night, Austin Roden was in net. Both freshmen. And Roden, in his first collegiate start, he got a win and he got a shutout. And that was the second UNO goaltender in the history of the UNO hockey program to get a shutout on his
I saw that, but
debut.
Who was the first? I didn't see anyone come up with the actual name of the person that was first.
No, they didn't talk about that.
And this was before my time, so I don't know. But
it was not before your time.
It wasn't?
No.
All right, who was it?
I'm going to let you guess. It's...
Okay, so it's not before my time.
No. It's not before your time. You're just like...
I'm trying to think. Are you
going to tell me, John?
No, I'm trying to...
I'll
I'm trying to think of the...
I'll give you and the fans a moment to think about it.
All right, John, I give up. I got no idea.
It's Evan Wenninger.
Really?
Yeah. And you and Jolene were at that series with up.
Yeah, we were up there in Mankato.
Fall of 2015.
And so we were at that game.
In his debut game, he won 2-0.
That's some good company for Roden to be in with.
Absolutely. A recent goaltender.
Yeah.
And I would have thought, when somebody said that, I would have thought it was somebody like Dan Ellis or maybe Ryan Massa back in the day. But you know what?
See, and I would, like I said earlier, like I would have guessed that it, a lot of times when you have something like that hasn't happened that frequently, a lot of times it's like, all right, the other person's not going to be the big name that everyone recognizes. It's going to be the, like I mentioned, Alex Blankenberg.
Right.
Like it's going to be that kid who got up and they just said, you know what, we're going to put him in at North Dakota.
Like you put him in at North Dakota and then you get the like a 1-0 shutout or something like that. Yeah.
And he just stands on his head and shocks everyone because a lot of times because they haven't done their scouting. You have this team coming in, especially, sometimes some of these teams like Denver was this way, right?
Yeah.
When Janusek and stuff were there. They just were always, it was always that guy. Like you knew they're coming in, that's the guy in net, right?
Right.
And then you throw them this curveball of like,
because a lot of times coaches do that to try to get the guys in front of them to play tighter, knowing that they can't depend on the goaltender. So a lot of times that's where you'll see one of those shutouts happen. But no, it was Evan Wenninger.
Yeah.
That team had a lot of promise, that 2015-16 team. We thought they were going to do great. We were really, we were rolling up there in Mankato. That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun, that series.
So, yeah, that's a cool honor for Austin Roden, one of my favorite new players. And look, honestly, Isaiah Seville the night before almost had the shutout. So
yeah, a late goal. And
so I think these two guys are going to be good. It's good to see both of them getting some playing time because you never know what will happen down the road. You may very well need both of them. So.
Well, and I know criticism from fans, and I can't say I totally disagree, but I think that, in the past we've used one goaltender too much. So it's nice that coach has the option to kind of split time a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think in some of these early games, I think you do that. I think because you never know. Somebody could get injured.
Mm-hmm.
The dynamic might not be working. A goaltender could kind of be in a little bit of a slump. So it's good to have options, and I think since all three are so young, you've got to at least give the top two some playing time here against some game competition. So, absolutely. So
something I thought was interesting
yeah,
is the freshman that we didn't see, and I know that injury news is hard to come by,
right,
so it's very possible that the reason we didn't see them is because of an injury.
sure.
But we didn't see Sullivan, and he was one that when we saw, was it
I believe it was
Muskegon that come down to
yeah, it
play?
was either last December or January. I remember when Skegan came and played in
Yeah,
Omaha. You got to see two games.
yeah.
Bridget and I saw one of the games. We went with you to see it, and
He
yeah, he
really
looked really
impressed
good.
me in those games,
He
and
took a
so I was
lot of
really
he took
excited
a
about him coming
he
in.
looks like he's terrific at face-offs. He looks
Yep.
like he could be the face-off guy, and a lot of people are kind of high on him. I've heard from people who are close to the program that he's a pretty impressive player that they're very excited about. So we've
So
heard,
hopefully he's not
yeah,
hurt.
hopefully
Hopefully,
it's
at
not like
least it's
a
not nothing
serious kind
major or
of
something.
chronic injury.
Because
If there is even an
yeah,
injury, maybe there's some other reason he's not playing right now. I
yeah, I
don't
don't
know.
know. It's just always a shame when it's like there's. I really wanted to see how he'd do, and
I
I
know
haven't had a chance to see it
guys
yet.
that we talked about last season
Right.
that we followed last season that we're excited to see play and we haven't seen him play yet.
Yeah.
So
So we'll look forward to seeing him.
hopefully
Sometime in the
sometime
future.
soon. Yeah, yeah, very excited. But overall, I thought it was a terrific series. I mean, like I said, successful teams take advantage of the opportunities presented to them, and this team did that. And they played with an energy and they played with a passion that we haven't seen for a while out of a UNO team. So they just keep chipping away and keep developing. I think things will be good.
Right.
And I would say that they've got some series coming up where they're really going to get to kind of gauge and kind of look at
Right.
the barometer of how they're going to do and where they're going to be here in the next couple months.
So with the significance of new team members on UNO, we also have a new, let's say, team member in the NCHC TV and
right,
UNO field that's kind of dealing with, something I think the fans are really kind of struggling with. It seems that some of the things we're used to seeing last year aren't working. Particularly, the ability to log into some of the apps with the NCHC TV
sure,
was a problem. Some people have had issues with that. For those of you who might subscribe to it and have missed the email or something, you do have to go on and
you have to reset
update.
your password.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So for the last however many years, the NCHC has had NCHC TV, where you can
Right.
watch streams of the games that do not appear the home games for the conference teams
Right.
that are not broadcast on CBS Sports, because for whatever reason those are not included as part of your
because National
streaming
takes
package.
rights. Yeah.
Right. So New Lion was the partner that streamed those games, that built the app, that I'm assuming built the website that allowed those games to be streamed on
Right.
During the season for NCHC.
Right.
And New Lion was bought out by Learfield, which is the company they're a national company that handle a lot of marketing for a lot of collegiate teams.
Okay.
And Learfield's handled marketing for UNO athletics the last several years, and they do marketing for a number of other NCHC schools. So Sidearm Sports, which is part of Learfield, now runs the streaming operation. So fans have gotten a new app, and it's definitely a different experience.
That's the part that really
for them.
confused me, though.
Yeah.
Is it a new app or is it just an update to the existing app? Right.
Well, they updated the existing app, but my feeling is, for all intents and purposes, if you look at the changes that were made, it feels like a completely different app. You know what I'm saying?
Right. The thing that got me
That's
was
what I'm saying. It's not like one of those things where, kind of the one provider app, like when you're looking at the app store, the iOS app store, where
Right.
it's kind of an end of life thing, and then they unveil something completely new, so you got to download a separate app. You didn't have to do that. It was an update to the app, but it
and that's
felt
the part that
completely
confused
different.
me, is because the email that they sent out and the way that they worded it, or at least the way that I read it, had me confused, because I thought that I was going to have to find a new app, and I kept waiting to find the app, and I just like it was very confusing. And then all of a sudden, I got this massive update, like really big update, to the existing NCHC TV app, and it logged me out. And then I couldn't log in.
Right.
And now it's in this weird thing, like for me, that it keeps telling me that I don't have an account whenever I want to go watch something.
Okay.
But if I log in on the website, that account information works.
Okay, it's interesting.
Just weird, and it's annoying, and it's frustrating. And from a user engagement and usability standpoint, it's like
well, let me put it to you this way: there are people who obviously, and I build websites, and I know you're involved with that process in your job. It's that whole UI UX thing. It's the user interface, user experience thing, and right now the app before was better because it was easy to find the archive stuff, and you could look team by team and just look. So what you could do is you could choose a team in the grid. You could either look at all the NCHC content or choose a team. So if I wanted to go back and look at like the North Dakota press conferences or all of the North Dakota archived games, I could do that very easily, which is kind of nice because if we were doing something on this podcast where I wanted to reference a certain game that they were playing while UNO was playing somebody else, I could go back and do that. It was very easy to look at the highlight packages. Now it's just all kind of bunched together. There's no real menu where you can sign in and sign out if you're using the app on Apple TV, for example. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that it's this way on the iPad, iPhone, and the iOS type of device, but on tvOS anyway, which is where I use the app because I watch the games on TV. When you sign in, you click on one of the games because there's a lock symbol generally, and you sign in with your account. But there's no like settings menu or anything to go in and then sign out or do any of that. It's like once you're signed in, I guess you're signed in.
Yeah, and on the app on my phone, there's no sign in, sign out.
Okay.
Like for me to get to the sign in, sign out, I either had to click on a game.
Okay, yeah.
And I didn't see the lock symbol. I think I just had to click on a game and then it brought that up. Or you have to go in and you have to tap on my account. Okay. And then it gates you. But that was the problem is like I tapped on my account and then it told me I didn't have an account. And then I'm like, well, that's weird. So I went on the website and went, I can get on the website. Why can I get on the website and not in the app? I was very, very confused. And I, like you, used to go back and watch games because a lot of times there'd be things like, recent example, on Friday night, Weiss hit a player from behind.
Yeah, and I didn't catch it. I saw kind of the aftermath of that. I didn't see it happen. I didn't even know he was involved. And then somebody had posted a clip, I believe, from the stream, and then somebody had been recording live at Baxter Arena from a different angle. So we kind of got to see what the hit was.
And so normally my MO would be in something like that. If I wanted, I want to see, I saw it live, but a lot of times when you see something live, it looks different.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can slow it down and things. So I'd go back to the feeds to watch something again. So I always like, no, okay, I need to go to the game and look at, 8 minutes left in the third period. And I had a terrible time trying to get back into the app and find the game. And I finally just gave up because I'm just so annoyed. And I'm not one to like push through too much, but like we talked about earlier in the podcast, we're both people who just will watch hockey. And there are a number of times that I'll get home from the UNO game and I'll pull up to see what North Dakota was doing.
Right.
Or the Duluth game or something.
Or for example, DU and CC, because they're in the Mountain Time Zone, they're still playing. So a lot of times I'll pull up those feeds and watch those games.
And watch the end of the game or something.
Yeah, there have been a number of people on Twitter, college hockey fans in the NCHC who subscribe to the NCHC, who've been having issues on various devices for various reasons. And it sounds right now like the app is kind of a work in progress. And I know that if you find Sidearm Sports on Twitter, and you tweet at them and tweet at the NCHC, they tend to get back to you, and they seem
responsive to that.
Yeah, they're working on the app. I think there'll be updates as the season goes along. Yeah. And again, I don't know when Learfield bought out New Line. I don't know if that like just happened like in August or something, or if it was last spring. I mean, that could be why they're kind of in a time pinch right now. So,
and I think, from a podcast standpoint, I think to our listeners and stuff, we just say, chill, give them some time to work this out. It sounds like, it, as long as they continue, I think, to listen and engage with the fan base and the user base and the people who are like, look, I want this content, but you can do a better job of delivering it to me. I think that they'll be good in the end. It's just, we got to just kind of help them through some growing pains
Right.
here.
In Learfield, the sidearm sports side has been good about giving out a phone number you can call to ask
Right.
questions. So I'm sure that they will get these things resolved. For example, I think they don't have an Amazon Fire TV app
Right.
yet when they did in the past, but now they, so there's just kind of a transition period. And I know that's tough when you've paid the subscription fees and you want it to work
Yeah.
well, but I just be patient with them. I think it'll be okay.
And things don't end with the TV. We have
Right.
some fans that have complained about some issues with using app-based radio stuff, and I know apparently it sounds like what the issue is that the university has set kind of I think it was a 75-mile radius for the
Yeah,
broadcast
so
of their.
that was, and correct me if I'm wrong, because that was on the TuneIn app, correct?
I believe the ones that we heard about were tune in the night of, but I've heard other people say that they had the same problem on Last FM.
Okay. Yeah, it's for those who are not from Omaha who are listening to this podcast, the AM radio station that UNO hockey broadcasts are on is one that is a difficult signal to pick up. And I don't live all that far from the tower
Right.
where it's broadcasting, and it's a lot of times it's subject prone to static and interference, unlike
And
some of the other stations they've been on.
all the way out here to us, we don't get it at all.
Right.
At all. On even the best of radios, I haven't been able to receive it.
Yeah.
And so we relied a lot, pretty heavily on TuneIn because
Right.
A, I could be anywhere in the house and I can get it, and B, it's a quality signal. Like,
Yeah.
and I know people that, I guess it's more of a pro sports type of thing, but I'm sure that there's people who do this in college hockey too, but they put their earbuds in, they tune in to Last FM or tune in
Yeah.
and listen to the play-by-play on the radio while they're watching the game live.
Sure.
Because they like the commentary, they like the personalities on the radio.
Well, yeah, and you look at you look at a guy like Terry Leahy. He's going to provide a lot of terrific color commentary during the game, and you've got Donnie Barnes, who's a new play-by-play guy. So it's exciting to get to listen to somebody new and see how he sounds and see how. Obviously, he's done games in the past, but it's nice to kind of hear a new voice of UNO hockey, and so. 1180 is just a difficult signal, and like you said, there are people who live out here in your part of the town who aren't even able to tune it in.
Yeah.
I know it's one of those. It's not like when they were on 1110 KFAB, which was the blowtorch here, which you could be in, Montana and sometimes pick that up if the celestial, wanderings and the
If
sky
Venus
was free of
right
clouds.
mood,
You could pick it up. It was a very, very powerful station. So it's tough. And sometimes what they'll do is if it's on an AM radio station, it'll also be on an FM station that the parent company owns.
Right.
But we don't have that here. So. Or whether they own or have an agreement with them, you can get it on both. But that doesn't happen here. So a lot of times people listen to it on those streaming apps.
Right.
It's supposed to be handy. But, and this was a friend of ours named Bernie who had been listening to it. And he was listening to it down in Bellevue. And, Bellevue's just a hop, skip, and a jump from Baxter Arena. It's
well
not that
within
far
this
away.
75-mile radius thing.
So Bernie had contacted the program director at NRG Media, which is the company that operates the zone here in Omaha. And they replied to him and they're like, Bernie, thanks for the note. Our apologies. There's some sort of glitch we are looking into now. UNO, through their partner Learfield, has a new rule restricting the stream to a 75-mile radius, and yes, you are well within that. Having computer people check on it now. So obviously, Bellevue and some of the surrounding communities in the Omaha metro area are well within. Bellevue is very much within the 75-mile radius, but it does bring up the question, should the games be available to people outside of this 75-mile radius?
Thoughts?
Well, I let me put it to you this way. It's again, you and I have kind of talked about, what's the contract? Do they have to pay more? If it's, we don't know the details
right.
of that. So we would just be speculating. So I'm not going to speculate. I would just say as a general principle, I would like the radio broadcast to be available, for example, to parents in Canada or Minnesota or Michigan or wherever these players are coming from. I
Right.
think it would be nice because back in the day before you had something like NCHC TV where you could stream the video, back before streaming video, because this program started in 97, there were people who would stream the audio of the games from the radio station, um, you know, each week throughout the season. So it's a nice opportunity to have that available. I think I think as many venues as you can have that people can listen to the games. I think it's the
And
better.
maybe it's a maybe it's a version. I don't know what version they're on now. Version 2 of NCHC type of thing. But I think of like the NHL app, and on the NHL app, even if I can't watch a game if it's blacked out for some reason or something, they have that listen button.
Right.
And if you tap that, you get the what is essentially the radio feed that I get in Denver for an Avalanche game, right?
Right.
So it's kind of nice sometimes to have that connection between them. So maybe a future version of the NCHC will allow you to listen to a homeschool's radio feed, and that's why they set
That'd be
that
cool.
radius or something.
It'd be cool because you've seen like on the ESPN app, like for example during the national championship game, you can watch the NCAA football national championship. You can Division I national championship. You can listen to the home team radio feed. You can listen to your home team or any of either of the team's feeds. You can have the fan feed. You can get other people. There's all kinds of options to listen to. So it's kind of cool when you get like the fan cam and all that other stuff. But it'd be cool to be able to listen to the home radio feed or the road radio feed. I mean, at this point, we're just hoping to get the current issues with the NCHC TV app figured out.
Right. I mean, they got to get. There's a lot for them to do. Like, we want them to get that done. You want them to figure out whatever this computer glitch that prohibited Bellevue from listening.
Yeah, and
to it
again, I don't know if they. I'm going to take them at the word that we heard. I mean, I'm assuming they have a.
I don't see any reason why
radius of 75 miles.
Right.
Unless we find out differently, I don't know. But then again, maybe it was just a glitch. Maybe anybody can listen to it. But it is kind of an interesting thing, just having it kind of blacked out, away from a certain region. I don't.
And to your point about reasons why, maybe that shouldn't be the case. I think that there's a lot of opportunities for current fans that. Particularly people who listen on radio stations and stuff typically are very connected to the people that they listen to.
Yeah.
They talk when we've gone to conferences and sat through podcasts, and they talk about that engagement with the listener and the connection that you get through audio.
Yeah.
And I think that radio personalities understand that, and they have a unique position with that.
Absolutely.
And I think that from a fan standpoint, you have to realize that so many people travel nowadays. So many people are gone for a family vacation or a kid's activity or work or something. And it's a great idea to be able to, I think that's the great thing about technology is that with Last FM, with TuneIn and apps like that, I can be on a work trip and tune into the game. I can't watch it because...
Absolutely.
done this. I'm sitting in a meeting where it's obvious I'm staring at my phone and watching a game, but I can have my little earbud in and no one's none the wiser than I'm listening to the game.
And this is a point worth making. There's a reason why podcasts are having a renaissance.
Right.
Because when iPods first came out, they were huge, and then nobody was talking about them for 6-7 years, and then all of a sudden they made a comeback.
They're coming back, yeah.
Well, they made a comeback because a lot of times, people aren't going to sit down and watch a video. But they have time when they're exercising, when they're at work, to just sit and listen to something quietly. And for whatever reason, it just seems to be more convenient for them. And I got to tell you, there are a lot of times when I watch podcasts and whatnot that are on YouTube that have video, but I pull them up on my phone before I go for my walk every day. And I listen to those because I like having the audio. I want to learn something. And so it's the same thing with games. And you talk about traveling or... if somebody works evenings somewhere, if they're in a call center or something like that, it's an opportunity for them in their downtime to sit and listen to the game. So,
and you had mentioned, off podcast when we were talking too, and I think it's a good point to bring up about the families.
Yeah.
They can't come to every game, but
no,
it's kind of a strong connection between, well, their son kind of here type of thing.
And some
you
of
know,
them
how nice of them to be
right.
able to, and that's why I say, like, going back to the NHL app, right? Like,
Yeah.
how nice would it be that if the NCHC app just had a, tune into the local feed for each team, and you could listen to that, to how your son played, maybe
Yeah.
for a limited fee, or maybe just it's a free offering through the app to get you into the ecosystem and engaged
It's
that
very
way.
interesting because I got to tell you, there are times when I'm watching those UNO road games that I would like to be able to listen to the UNO radio broadcast synced up to that while I watch
Yeah.
the video. And I'm sure that brings in, rights issues and advertising and
all the
stuff like
stuff
that.
we
All
aren't
that
getting into. Yeah.
all that stuff we're not going to get into, but it would be kind of a cool thing. But I think they ought to, make the audio option available to, anybody who wants to listen to it around North America.
I think so.
Yeah. Just my thought.
Yeah. Penny for our thoughts.
Penny for our thoughts.
All right. So we've got a weekend away.
Yeah.
And we are headed to Ohio
State. Yeah, Bridget and I went back. We know them very well from our CCHA days. Bridget and I went on a road trip there fall of 2007, I believe, and it was a lot of fun to go watch them play.
They won the Icebreaker tournament. They are a team that some people have picked to win the Big Ten.
Yeah,
so there's some expectation on that club.
Former UNO assistant Steve Rollick has done a terrific job there, and that program has done really well the last couple of seasons. So they've been great in the conference, and I'm excited to see. This is more than anything, this is a great opportunity for UNO to kind of measure where they're at this point.
Right.
That might not have been there with Huntsville, but this is a team that's a good, solid college hockey team. We don't know where they'll be at the end of the season, but
they should be in contention.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at everything on the club, and you look at the expectations from pundits and powers that be and coaches and things like that. And,
sure.
There are some who look at it saying if things click, they could be, a rogue pick for a national championship. There's some people that say if things don't click, they could, be middle of the pack, but they're still going to be, they should be a contending team. So like you said, this is a good test for UNO. This is not a slack off game.
Nope. They have to play smart. They can't take dumb penalties. Yeah. And I think they can have, if they play with the kind of energy we saw this weekend and they play with the kind of heart, I think they can have success.
So and are you picking the sweep? I just want to know.
Am I picking really? You're just jumping into that already.
Yeah,
John, are you
on.
You picked them
Spotlight.
Fifth in the conference. Am I going to pick them to sweep?
Yeah, is your fifth place team going to be Ohio State? Yeah.
I'd love it if they went in there and swept. I'm going to be a little bit more conservative and a little bit cautious. I'm going to say they go in and split, which I think would be a fantastic weekend for them.
Yeah.
But if they need to continue playing the way that they've played during the 3 games we've seen them in so far.
So split, do you think win Friday, lose Saturday, or win?
I'm going to say win Friday, lose Saturday.
You think win Friday, lose
I think
Saturday.
the team has a lot of jump. I think they go in there. Lots of newcomers, very excited to play a Big Ten hockey team. I think they're going to go in, have a lot of success Friday. And I think the Buckeyes are going to readjust for Saturday night. It's going to be a little tougher. But you're really making me want to pick the sweep now. I just want to go full bore. It's every weekend we're picking a sweep. But no,
man, if you're going to ride the wagon, ride the wagon. Come on.
I know, yeah.
I suppose you want me to pick now.
Well, since you put me on the spot and made me pick right when we were in the middle of, a thought about the team, yeah.
I didn't want you to get into that.
I mean, you mentioned that Ohio State.
Skip the fluff. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, you should have picked Ohio State to win the national championship.
I wasn't going to. No, I wouldn't pick Ohio State.
Since you love the Big Ten this season.
Just Wisconsin. I should pick BC. Really should have picked BC. I'm going to kick myself all season.
One year too early on that national championship pick, aren't you?
Yeah, I just jumped the gun on it.
So go full bore. I'm picking the split. I'm picking we win Saturday, or we win Friday, we lose Saturday.
Here's what I'll say. I want to pick the split.
Right.
Based on how we played this weekend, I think we split.
Okay.
The only way I think we split is a win Friday.
Okay, so
if we lose Friday, I'm not confident in, because it's a young team, because you're on the road, I don't know that they can take a beating on Friday and find a way to adjust for Saturday. I don't know if they can.
Is your mindset, do you have a little bit of a hangover from last season? Is that kind of what's entering your thought process?
No, it's not so much that as it is in general, my experience with teams that are very young it's a roller coaster team.
It can be an adventure, and it's definitely a work in progress. Let's make no mistake about that.
So I look at this weekend going, this was kind of the, we're at the top of it. Now I'm like, okay, is it time for the dip? Because I got a feeling at some point in time, we're going to dip down, we're going to have some struggles, and then we're going to build back up.
Okay.
This could be the dip series. This could be the series that we go in and we struggle both nights and we lose both, and it's
a reality
young
check,
team
kind of
learning how to play NCAA hockey.
That's fair.
Against quality opponents. But I also look going at they showed real talent and some very smart quality play this weekend.
They sure did.
And if they can keep that up, I think they've got the potential to sweep them. I think they've got the potential to go in Friday,
the number one thing,
shock them, and then take advantage of them on Saturday, trying to push too hard and trying to overproduce. But that's the freshman team, right? Like I can see
there's so many unknowns.
I know,
and I'm so excited. I want to be so optimistic, and that's why I'm going. With the split, but they've got
last season I would have said we're out. Like, I just didn't see anything last season that said we've got a shot at it. And so the freshmen really gave me a chance to, it's a hard pick, I think, because I think we really legitimately have a chance at it.
We still don't know a lot about our team.
Right.
We don't know a lot about Ohio State this season, so it's going to be a tough one. But I'm excited.
Who's going to be in net? Is it
who's going to be in net? Are they going to split time again? Is it going to be Seville Friday, Roden Saturday? Or is it going to be Seville Friday, depending on how it goes Friday?
Maybe Seville again, maybe
you
Roden.
Stick with Seville. It depends. There's
Do you
a lot
switch
of
him
things.
up? Do you say Roden was hot on Saturday? Let's run him on Friday?
It's hard to know because we minimized shot opportunities for our opponent in both of those games.
And I don't know that you're going to get that against Ohio State.
I don't know that you're
Ohio
going
State
to, too. So this could be a very, very interesting adventure. So I'll be fascinated to see. Yeah. I'll be watching. I know you're going to be watching.
Oh, yeah.
We're excited about this.
Not going to miss this one.
Yeah, so I'm going with the split. You're going with the split?
I will go with the split.
Okay.
I'll go just like
pick.
you. Friday,
you need
Saturday.
to jump on that optimistic bandwagon, man.
That's about as optimistic.
I'm excited about these guys. They remind me of the 04-05 team. That team did a lot of great things.
No one wants to listen to a podcast that's good cop. So
that's right.
But
I'm going to be good cop. You can be bad cop.
All right.
That's
fine.
right.
I'll be bad cop. All right. So we'll go on the road. We'll go to Ohio State. We got a week off.
That's right. After that.
But you're not going to get a break from us on the Mavpuckcast.
No, we've got a special podcast coming up.
Yeah.
We already recorded it, and it's really fun. I think you're going to like it. We're not going to give you any details.
No, I think the mystery surrounds what, and I'll say we might as well use social media on this, right? Like go on Twitter, go on the Mavpuck Facebook page.
Yeah.
Go onto the message board. Go
to the message board. That message board's great. Yeah.
Start a special segment on that message board.
Yeah, start a thread on the message board.
What do you think the special episode next week?
It was definitely a departure for us. So
it's
go
totally new. It's totally something different. So
I'm not going to answer until the podcast drops. Maybe you might get some teeny tiny hints, but we'll just have to see. Maybe so.
You never know.
I know. But in the meantime, be sure to follow Mavpuck on Twitter.
That's right.
Follow us on Facebook.
Like the podcast.
Like the podcast. Sign up for an account on Mavpuck.com where you can find all of this stuff.
For free.
And post on the message board. I've been working on the site the last year. It's coming together really nicely. My reboot plan for all of this is working well. And it's with the help of people like Jason and Connor Willingham and Bridget and Jolene that we're able to do this stuff because it's really hard for me to do these things by myself. In fact, it's impossible. So the contributions of great fans willing to volunteer their time and effort means a lot. So until next time, go Mavs.
Go Mavs.